Ooh, I'm going to take that out of there. Sorry. Good morning. You've already been to one session probably. So you're wide awake and ready for this, right? I will probably start with a little bit of a commercial on Impact Dakota. How many of you have heard of Impact Dakota? I know there's a few of you in the room that we've worked with, but Impact Dakota has been known in the past as Dakota MEP, which may or may not mean more to you than Impact Dakota, but our story as Dakota MEP to Impact Dakota is one of my kind of horror stories when it comes to branding. Okay, yesterday there was someone in the room, and I don't know if she's in here or not, but talked about switching her brand and her look and logo and that kind of thing. Was you?
It's called refreshing.
Refreshing?
I was told that that's what it was called.
Okay, right, okay. Refreshing, yes. So if you do that well and you don't just cut ties from the old to the new, it can be a really good process, and it can increase your markets as long as you don't lose all your old market, okay? So when you do that, if you do that, make sure that all of your website information, all of your URLs, everything that you had in the past now transfers people to your new stuff, okay? Anyway, I'll get back to Impact Dakota. Who is Impact Dakota? We are the North Dakota representative of the Manufacturers Extension Partnership. That may or may not mean much to you, but what we are basically is a 501c3 corporation that represents the National Institute of Standard Technology Manufacturers Extension Partnership in North Dakota. So every state has a division or a representative of the Manufacturers Extension Partnership. There are 51 of them worldwide, one in Puerto Rico, and then all the states. So in some places they use colleges, universities to do that. Some places have a 501c3 like we do, and other places it's actually run as a department of the state. And I think Colorado does it that way and Wisconsin does it that way. But what we do is we work with manufacturers, which in North Dakota means anybody that does value-added ag or food processing is considered a manufacturer. And you may or may not have a manufacturing NAICS code, which is the National Institute of Applied, whatever, I don't know all the acronyms. But it basically means that you're identified in Dun & Bradstreet as a manufacturer. And if you have that code, we can help you more than what we can if you don't. So, and it's a painless process, but anyway. Our mission as Impact Dakota is to positively impact businesses' results of manufacturers and other industries. So they put the and other industries in here because North Dakota and several other states are very ag-based. And so a lot of what we do is ag, value-added ag and training around food safety, food processing, FSMA, HACCP, what's the other one? PCQI, those kinds of things. And then for the bigger bigger processors that are doing a lot of times they have internal auditor training that we do also. So there's kind of a lot of things that way. And then we are hoping to be the most trusted and respected resource for North Dakota manufacturers or businesses. We are spreading out a little bit into some of the other things. So it's kind of interesting when you look at this. You've got your values, but it makes the word impact as you go down. Integrity, measurable, problem solvers, accountability, and teamwork. So it's kind of neat how they did that. But these are the things that we can do for your company: training, food safety, business excellence, process improvement. We can help with networking sometimes. If someone's looking for somebody to do a bagging process for the product that they have, we can potentially link you with some folks that can do that. Provide other components that you don't have now, things like that. So And then we do free assessments and low-cost projects because we're a 501c3. We can offer some cost things that some other places can't. So, I don't know. I guess these are filling in a little bit at a time here. There we go. Now, I'll switch over to the branding part. So, what is a brand? Do you all have one? Do you know what it is? Okay. So the interesting thing about this is if you look at, I don't know if I can point on here or, no, I guess not. To the far left there, you've got a little black symbol, okay? Does everybody know what company that's for? Okay, Apple, right? You don't even need to have your name on it, on your logo. If everybody knows what that is, you don't need to have your name, okay? And that's built over time. It's built from reputation. Brands that you know, and I put love with a question mark, okay? Because everybody has a different opinion of a brand, right? So some people might love Walmart, other people might love Sam's Club, other people might love Costco, okay? But not everybody does. So that's a big part of branding, and that reputation will follow your brand based on things that people say, people experiences that they have. And the other thing that you should all know is that if somebody's not happy with what you're doing, they're going to tell 9 people. If somebody loves what you're doing, they're going to tell 2 people. You're in a losing battle, you know? So you make sure that you don't, I'll phrase it right, torque anybody off, right? Get them upset with you if you can help it. Sometimes it's inevitable, right? But all these brands mean certain things, and there's different levels of quality that you assume with that brand. If somebody says Saks Fifth Avenue, you think nice quality, good customer service, high price, right? If somebody says Walmart, you think maybe they have a good selection of things, not so much now, but you think about price, you think about there's one kind of everywhere, you can find it most places. And then when you go to grab a little paper tissue that you're going to use to blow your nose or wipe your nose or whatever you're doing with it, what do you think of? Everybody says, go grab me a Kleenex, right? That brand is ubiquitous. It's everywhere, you know? The other thing I studied in college was something called international marketing. And one of my courses, we talked about things that don't work in other countries. So when Chevrolet came out with their brand, the Nova, when you're taking a Nova into Mexico, what does that mean to someone? No go. Okay? So you have to think about that. If you're branding for something that's going to another country, you have to understand that their mindset of what you're bringing in. The other thing is the Electrolux vacuums. Their slogan in England is nothing sucks like an Electrolux. Okay? Doesn't cross over very well to the US. So those are the kinds of things you got to think about when you're branding. And the other thing about it is consistency. What makes a memorable brand? You need to have the same look everywhere you go. And Don and I and Deb were talking about that this morning, that when you have a specific color that you've picked for your logo, you better make sure that that color is, you have the color number for it, because it's going to show up a different color on everybody's phone, their monitor, their TV, print, all of this, okay? So unless all of these things are color coordinated and work together, you're going to get a different color on everything you pull it up on. But when you go to print that somewhere, if you give them that color code, you're going to get the same color printed every time, okay? So now they talked about Vistaprints yesterday. If you go to Vistaprints for one thing, you go to a different printer for another thing, if all you're giving them is a JPEG of your logo, they might come up with a different color for you. So you want to make sure that they know what color you're printing in. And if it comes down to taking pictures of something that's very color sensitive, like a color of a brick for houses, you want to make sure that you color correct for that, and that the photographer that's doing your pictures, or if you're doing it yourself, you know what that color is going to be. Because if somebody thinks that they're ordering a brownish orange colored brick like this, and they get something that's not that color, they're not going to be happy. You're going to get a lot of them back. So, quality. What do you want to be known for as a business, okay? What is your message that you're trying to get out? Do I make the best, pick on Don again, best waffles in the state of, well, North Dakota or the world or wherever you're marketing to, right? Do I make the best of this product? What is the price for that I'm picking? How do I portray my product to be the quality level that's going to get the price that I want, okay? So if you're making a lot of something and you want to have a lower price and you want to make a bunch of them that you can do really easily and make it on volume, make your money on volume, then you have a brand that represents a low price, economical thing that you're selling, okay? But you also want to have that idea of what you're focusing on. The professionalism makes the brand as well. The thing, you know, some people love McDonald's, some people hate McDonald's, whatever. But you know, if you're going to buy a Big Mac in Fargo, North Dakota, or Bismarck, North Dakota, and you go to Germany to buy a Big Mac, it's going to be a Big Mac. It's the same thing everywhere. Their French fries are the same everywhere you go, whether you call them pommes frites or you call them French fries. They're the same. So that's the consistency message. And the image, talked a little bit about what is the image that you want. The other thing is colors, okay? So if you're a food processor, you want your colors to be red and yellow, okay? That makes people hungry. Colors have effect on people's brains, okay? Black is tough. If you are going for that, you know, male, 20 to 30 male market, you want it black or silver, okay? You want your stuff to look tough, you want it to be strong, you want that kind of thing, right? Gold is exclusive, so if you want something, if your product is you think it's the best it can be and it's best in the market, gold or purple are your colors. Royalty or exclusive, you know. So those can make a big difference for folks. So consistency isn't an accident, okay? The bracelet lady yesterday, Emil, right?
5-second rule?
Yeah, 5-second rule bracelets. Everything she had was purple or pink, had the 5 on it, had all of her branding, everything. Even her tablecloths have it on now, okay? So that's a craft of consistency. She wears that wherever she goes if she's out. If she wants to dress up and go out for an evening, she's wearing something else. But if she's doing anything that's related to her business, she's wearing her colors and her logo, right? So, and over and over and over, and the product consistency as well. So, how do you do that? This is my motto at the end here. A picture paints 1,000 words, make them the words you want to say. So, before I started working for Impact Dakota, I was trying to get my photography business going. And I was marketing to different companies, trying to figure out who to talk to and this kind of thing. One of the areas that you can advertise is these off-the-wall marketing, which are in the bathrooms, right? So you have a captive audience for a period of time. And they're looking at that poster, or whatever it is. Well, what I noticed was there was a siding company that their before picture was better than their after picture.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, this guy could use some help, you know? So you want to really be intentional about the photos that you're putting on websites, on print materials, anywhere. You want to make sure that they're the best quality they can be, whether you take them with your cell phone or you have somebody hired with a high quality camera equipment that comes in and does it for you, okay? But you want to have consistency. So if you have a person come in and take photos of some of your products, and then you take some with the cell phone and you put those next to those on your website, your quality level just went from really high with the one picture to, not so good, and then back again, you know? So you want to make sure you're consistent. If you're having somebody do product photos for you, have them continually do them and set up a time that they can come in and do the new stuff that you have before you put it on your website, okay? So, also make sure that you're showing how you can help. Most of us have come to our businesses because we see a problem, right? Or we have an issue that we want to address, or we like really good certain types of foods, and we haven't found what we like, so we're making it, right? So the thing that you're doing is you're trying to show how you can help other people solve the same problem that you've solved with your product, okay? Whether it be awareness of mental health issues or a great breakfast food or whatever. And then, like voting in Chicago, right? Early and often, right? You want to do it all the time. And then learn it yourself or hire the right people to help. So in the beginning, when you're just starting out, you might take your photos with your cell phone, put them on your website, whatever. But as you want to grow and get better, that may entail hiring somebody to do your marketing like Mara yesterday, or Maba, or whatever their name was. Mabu, okay. And then, or a photographer, or somebody to come in and do video for you if you want to show off your process as part of your website or part of your story. Then you want to have a little bit of a video. You can do it with pictures if you do it the right way, but video is a little better for that. So now we'll switch over to kind of photography part of it, because that's my love and my passion. I'm working with Impact Dakota to potentially offer some photography services as well. So we'll see how that goes, but whether you do it yourself or hire someone to take the photos, make sure you're getting a good product. So if you're going to take the time to do your own photography, get some lights that'll show off your product well, okay? So photography, photographia, is the Greek root of it. It's writing with light. So light and shadows make a huge difference in what you're doing. I'll show some photos in a little bit, but you have to have good light, shadows. Soft light is best for product photography unless you want people to see hard edges and shadows. Sometimes that can be interesting and kind of dramatic. But if you really want to show off your product in the best light, you want soft light and you want big sources, okay? And then you watch direction. Composition, you want to make sure if you're taking a picture of a set of cabinets, you don't want them tilting, right? You want them nice and straight. You don't want doorways tilting. If you build houses and you're trying to show off your construction, you don't want your doorways to look like this. And all it takes is tilting your camera a little bit and that doorway straightens right out. And unless you know that, or know somebody that knows that, I've seen real estate photography with doors that look like this. I'm never going to buy that house. Personally, that's just me. Most people don't understand it. But the other thing is, if you're taking a picture of a lake home, you don't want the lake tilted. All the water's going to run out, right? You want to have it be nice and straight. So technical aspects, quality of equipment, lighting, backdrops, Photoshop. Do people know what they're doing? Do you know what you're doing? Okay? You can take great photos with a cell phone. You can pull them into Photoshop and you can do all kinds of stuff with them. If you know how to do the photos, generally you want to shoot in RAW versus a JPEG because you don't have as much leeway in a JPEG. That's writing a specific file with certain characteristics every time it takes a picture from your phone. But most of the newer iPhones and Androids have the ability to take RAW photos. And if you can download an app that's a professional camera and it shoots in RAW. Now you're going to get all the information that your camera can capture on that file, and then you can do a lot more with it in Photoshop or Lightroom or some of the other programs. So then using photography to promote your brand. Don't have your before picture look better than your after picture. It's not going to sell a lot of siding for you, I can guarantee it, okay? And the thing is, if you don't know what good photography is, it's hard to take a good picture, right? So there's a lot of education that can be done, even on YouTube. And when they were talking about YouTube yesterday, I go to YouTube probably 3-4 times a week at minimum, almost every day in reality, because there's stuff on YouTube that I want to learn about. And if your goal is to make a better wooden leg, you can find out how to do it on YouTube, you know, or whatever. Lots of things. There's so much you can learn on there. Product, if you're selling it, it better look good before and after. So if you're selling a food product and you take a picture of it and it looks like somebody barfed on a plate, it's not going to be a good thing. You know, you want to make sure that you're using, and most food photography, the interesting thing is most food photography is raw. It's not cooked. When they take a chicken breast and they're trying to make it look good on a picture, they don't bake it or cook it. They actually paint it the color that they want it to be. It looks juicier when it's raw than it does when it's cooked. So food photography is a whole nother art. It's completely, it really makes a big difference how you plate things, you know. You see, if you watch Chopped, you've seen how plating, you know, they put the little drizzle on there and all that, and some of them look great and other ones don't, you know. But a lot of these big restaurants, these 5-star restaurants and stuff, they'll have food photographers that come in and they actually take over the restaurant for a day, and they have people cook, or a lot of times then it's cooked and it's right as it comes out of the oven or out of the pan, and they set it up and they have a food decor person that actually designs it, and then the photographer's there to shoot it once it looks perfect. So, and then if you're doing people, another big part of branding is who do you want representing your company, okay? If you have a sales and marketing department and you are the sales and marketing department, you want to have a good picture of you or your people on a consistent backdrop, so there's not one on a brown one, there's one on a blue one, there's one on, you know, you want it all to look the same because you're all part of the same company. And you want to have people look good, you know. I mean, there's a lot you can do in Photoshop, but I don't like to do that for people. Most of the time, I want people to look like what they're going to look like. And we'll doll them up a little. I'll fix some, you know, blemishes and things like that, but I'm not going to change somebody's face shape to be 30 pounds less than they are. I can make them look better by how I take the photo in a lot of cases, but I'm not going to change people most times. So make sure it represents your website. So now we're on to the internet, marketing and advertising. If you're not on the internet and selling on the internet, you need to be. A friend of mine who is in Billings, Montana is a physician. She makes a lot of money as a physician because she's a rare type. She works with people that have been injured in car wrecks and things like that. She started trout fishing and tying flies when she was selling the flies online. Somebody said, well, why don't you tie them in gold wire? They look like they'd be really cool earrings. She said, oh, hey, that might be something. So she started tying flies in gold and silver wire. And in 2010, this is a while ago, but 2010, she made more money doing her little jewelry fly-tied earrings online than she did as a physician. She bought a $500,000 house on the hill at Big Sky with the money she made from doing her jewelry. So, and it was all online. She never, I mean, she would do a few, local art shows and things like that, like Pride of Dakota shows, but probably 95% of it was online. So, and if you want earrings like that, it's trout bums is her deal. So, social media, use it. I am guilty of not using it as much as I used to, but social media can be big. It can be really big, especially if you have a following already on social media and you can start promoting your business, or if your business has a following, letting people know what you're doing today. I'm at the Pride of Dakota show in Mandan, and people will be interested in that. So, and then being part of organizations like Pride of Dakota, any trade organizations that are part of what you do, publications, economic development offices. So this is interesting because all of you pay for these places, even like Impact Dakota. We get probably 60% of our money from federal and state funding, so you're paying for us, or part of us, with your taxes. Why not use us? If you are looking at doing a project to grow your business or put in a new line to make something new, contact your local economic development person and see if they have any funding to help with that. And a lot of times they do, and people don't know about it. So economic development, Department of Commerce, Department of Agriculture, they talked a little bit about the Apoc Grants. That is an Agricultural Product Utilization Commission grant. That's available to all of you if you use anything that's made in North Dakota as an agricultural product. Okay, so if you're a food company and you're using North Dakota stuff for your food, APUC applies. So the old off-the-wall marketing, right? Captive audience, any local trade publications or magazines, or even local, if you're, in a small town and you're gonna be part of their local summer fair or something, use them to advertise, Get your name out, get your logo out, all that. And then SEO is search engine optimization. How do you make your name rise to the top? When somebody searches in Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing, and they're searching for the product that you make, do you have to scroll down 3 or 4 pages before you find your company? And if you do, you can actually optimize that through whatever search engine you're using. So generally it takes paying them a little bit of money, and it takes knowing what keywords to use in your descriptions on your websites and things like that, and that'll make it rise to the top. So, and then word of mouth, that still works, I mean, a lot of people that go to these shows, somebody will see a sign, or when you go to the state fair and you see 100 people lined up outside a booth, why am I not there, right? It's got to be the best place in the whole fair if they got 100 people lined up there, So the word of mouth really helps. Customer recommendations, farmers markets, shows, retail locations. Now, on to the photography part. This is kind of my bailiwick. So I've worked for a lot of different companies in the Fargo area, and one of the things that I always am conscious of when I'm taking pictures of interior design, exterior design, real estate, or anything that needs to have a square edge or flat horizon, I'm working on that all the time, and I can set my camera up now so that I get it almost 100% right in there. But if I don't, if for some reason it got tilted, I can fix it in Lightroom. It's about a 5-second thing to fix a horizon or fix a line. And there's a guided application where you can actually take the mouse, put it on this line over here, put it on a line on that side, and it straightens everything up, and then put it on a cross line on the floor or on the countertop, and it's perfectly straight. And that's all it takes. I can do it in 5 seconds. And so for any picture of anything like this to be out there with a crooked wall doesn't make any sense to me. And if you have somebody that gives you, if you're hiring somebody to do photos and they give you a crooked line on anything, run, don't walk away from them. I'm sorry, but there's no reason for that. Great headshots. The one in the middle, not so much, but you can make anybody look good if you have good lighting, if you have a good backdrop, if you have a little bit of knowledge about photography. You can really improve things. Product photography. You want to show the business. Now this, I just noticed this line is crooked, okay? I will be fixing that after the show today. But this is a combination of actually 2 photos, because when you take a close-up of something like this, it's generally going to have a blurry background. And if you take a long shot to get the background, the front will be blurry. And so I combined the 2 photos together to get a sharp look on both of them. But I didn't notice that the door is crooked, or the sign there, so I'll fix that. But so the other cutting board there is one that my brother made. The fish was a veterans project. They have a veterans art show every year in Fargo at the VA, and they try and go to the next level of the nationals. And the last couple of years, they got comments saying that the pictures didn't represent what they were doing because they were cell phone shots and didn't have good lighting and all that. So they had me come in and do that for them, and I volunteered to do it because it's veterans and whatever. But those glass bowls were at a display that I just grabbed a shot of, and I thought they were cool. And then the top shot was something my wife bought, and I put it on a black mirror, and I did the lighting and took a photo of it. It looked pretty cool, and I like the reflection on that one. So using shadows or not using shadows, if you have a product like that metal flag on the left there, the shadows can actually add to that, right? It makes it look kind of cool. Other things like the glass and that was another VA project. The shadows actually add to the photo. So, in summary, image and consistency are key in branding, always. You want to have great pictures, you want to have good video, you want to have good text, you know, things to describe you. Use action words to try and say, you know, things that you will do to help other people with a problem or you know, the best food that they're going to get or whatever. The motto, picture paints 1,000 words, make them the words that you want to say. Use online as much as you can. It can make or break your business. A bad message spread worldwide is a badder message. So, a bad message, yeah. But, I mean, truthfully, if you are going to use the internet, use it well. Make sure that your consistency is there. Make sure that you have quality in what you do. And it'll really help. It can help a lot. So, photography versus good photography versus great photography. The photography has basically a couple of different things. Composition, how do things fit together. You want people to be drawn around the picture with their eye, okay? You want leading lines that pull them into your product. You want reflections of things that are important. Lighting is the key to all photography. Technical skills, equipment, and excellence can kind of come later, but be the best that you can be at what you do, and then when you're ready, hire someone to make you better, you know. Or if you want to learn the process yourself, take the time to learn it and do it well. And that'll make a huge difference in your branding. So, questions? Go ahead.
I struggle with the misrepresentation of food photos a lot of times.
Right.
Particularly like in the fast food industry, there's a lot of companies that have both continued, but then also have switched to using photography to represent what the end product is versus what the idealized product is.
Right.
From your perspective in branding, what can the interpretation be from a consumer perspective of a company who I would say intentionally misrepresents what their end product is?
Right. So there are a lot of fine lines there, and if you feel like they are misrepresenting their product, that is trademark fraud, or that it can be fraud. And so if you can document consistently that their product looks like this on their ads and it looks like this on their, when you get it, you can pursue that. It's tough to pursue against somebody like McDonald's or Burger King or, you know, whatever, but because they got a team of lawyers covering their butts everything they do, right? But yeah, there is some of that can be, you can focus on that and push towards getting some help that way too.
I wouldn't even go as far as like legal action, just as a consumer.
Right. Go on.
Thinking more deeply about supporting brands that,
Right.
you know.
And I think that is a trend that's coming, that a lot of people are finding out that some of these big brands that are been pushing for years and years with this great stock photography are having more trouble now and not doing as well, because people say, we want local more, you know.
So, let me give you an example I'm thinking you have a certain product that you know you consistently crank out and it looks exactly like the photos
Mhm.
every day,
Right.
would it be wrong if you wanted to call out the other folks and say, okay, this is why we're different, and you can show the comparisons of those brands versus yours? Are you able to show brands compared to yours? Or is that like?
I would consult a lawyer on that one.
Okay.
I truthfully would. A brand or
Or a type of.
trademark patent lawyer. I would.
A type of product that's
Yeah.
not like labeled, but an actual product, like a sandwich.
Competitive.
Like a sandwich, for example.
Yeah.
Actual, like, okay, so you want a ham sandwich here, this is what
Right.
you get there, this is what you get here.
Yeah.
Or you can say, hey, you know where this came from.
Right.
And let them
You could do
figure
it
out.
that way, and that might be, as long as you don't have their logo on
No,
it,
it
or
wouldn't be a logo, it
right,
would be
or
more
something like
yeah,
that. But
it'd be
yeah,
like- well, because some people wonder what the differences are of sandwiches.
Right.
If you want to show them,
right.
this is a visual here.
Yeah, here's somebody else's sandwich, here's ours, and it looks tremendously better. And
Yeah.
yeah, as long as your product represents that, yeah,
Yep.
you
It
know.
would have all the same ingredients, it's
Mhm.
the same order, but two different places, this is why we're different.
Yeah, and this is advice from me, but not Impact Dakota either, because that, you know, I mean, you always, the biggest thing in the United States is we love to litigate, okay? And if you go in the phone book and you look at the section on doctors and you look at the section on lawyers, it's about double the size of lawyers, okay? So you always want to make sure that you're covering your bases if you're doing anything competitive like that, okay? Make sure that you're getting people involved that can say, here's the letter of the law, here's what you could potentially do, and, you know, don't want to step over this line,
You're
right?
not trying to hurt someone's business, you just wanna say,
Right.
you know, call
Yeah.
out and say, hey, this is what we do different, like, it's.
Right.
Some people have never been in your shop.
Right, and I think that's probably okay, you know, but it's, again, I would ask somebody with more knowledge about that stuff than I have, so. Other questions?
So are the services free to us, or is there a charge?
So how Impact Dakota works is we do a free assessment around whatever process or food safety that you're looking at having help with. Sometimes we just do flat out food safety trainings. We just did a HACCP training that was free. We actually did a PCQI training that was like $400 and some for a 2-day training. So, but we, it depends on the market and what things can bear, and if we're trying to get more customers in that area, we might offer the training for free and then have some other projects that we would potentially charge for that, you know, if you're trying to implement a food safety plan, then we would have somebody come and potentially help you with that, and there might be a charge for that, you know what I mean? So a lot of the assessments, the beginning stages of things are free, and then if we, you know, if it's something that you can implement yourself, great, go for it, you know? And here's some direction on how to do that. And we'll give you a 1 or 2 page follow-up saying here's what, you know, things we saw, things that we think could be improved based on these types of applications. If you can do it yourself, great. If you need help, we can help resource people to bring in other companies or other organizations that we contract with to help you on that. And then there's a charge for it. So, and it's pretty reasonable, I think. I don't know. I mean, if you went and looked for you know, PCQI training out in the market, it's probably going to be $800 a person, and we just did one for $475, I think, per person. So it's pretty reasonable that way. That get at what you were asking?
Well, and I was actually looking at more of your photo stuff.
Oh,
And,
yeah, I'm.
web development, we've always kind of argued between the two of us, our Facebook, we've got 2 separate Facebook things for our business, and it confuses me.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I said I wasn't going to go 45 minutes, but we're almost there. So any other questions that folks have? Go ahead, Don.
Just a comment, we just had some photography done on our product, for, putting on Facebook, and, we weren't very happy, we weren't it didn't represent us, it represented the photographer who was taking it. So when you hire somebody to do your job, be sure that you have sort of a clause or an agreement or part of an agreement, so not what you want, that you get another set of proofs from those people.
Right.
We came up short on what we really thought we were going to get. It was more about the photographer and what she wanted to see.
Right.
And we wanted to see on the phone.
Yeah, and photography styles have changed a lot in the last couple of years with the onset of Instagram and some of the other online photo sites. People are putting up a lot of cell phone pictures that are blown out in the background and you can barely tell what's in front of you. You know, a lot of the wedding photos now, you can hardly see the couple, all you see is the blown out background, you know. And that's become kind of a style now that some people like. Again, it's your brand and what you have. So if you're looking for that type of photography, make sure you go on the photographer's website and see what they do, you know. Ask them lots of questions before you sign a contract or anything. And then like Don said, make sure there's a clause in there that if you're not happy, they're gonna retake photos or you're gonna get your money back or part of your money back. So that's all I'll say on that. But just make sure that the communication is going both ways and that the person understands what you're trying to represent and how you want to do it. That way you'll have hopefully a little better results. So let's see. Oh, that's just me. So, but thank you very much for coming and listening. Oh, someone had a question? Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had a recommendation for starting a website, like any programs or anything like that.
I use Pixie Set for mine. There's a couple other ones that are out there. I'm blanking on the names right now. But there's, shoot.
Shopify.
Wix, yeah, the Wix is pretty good. There,
BigCommerce is good.
what's that?
BigCommerce.
Okay, yeah,
Wix is easy.
Wix, and then there's another one that's a lot of photographers use too, and I can't think of it now. But I mean, most of them are just drag and drop, so you just take your photos and drop them in, and you can set it up however you want. And the other thing is, when they talked yesterday about making sure they're optimized for the different types of, you know, if somebody's looking at it on a cell phone versus a laptop versus a computer versus a tablet or whatever, a lot of these have the pre-set up formats so that they look good on all the different devices, which is nice. So,
And on that note too, you want to make sure if you're doing the website SEO,
oh,
there's an option because sometimes the websites
Right.
aren't optimized by Google.
right, right. The other thing too I was going to mention is make sure your photo sizes are correct for the place you're putting them. So Facebook 1080 by 9 something. I think it's 1080 on the long side by like 640 or 840, whatever it is. Just make sure when you go and look, they'll have its description of what size photo you should use for that website, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these. If you're using the wrong size photo, you got a 6,000 by 4,000 pixel photo that's beautiful and you're gonna put it on Facebook, they're gonna squish it down and make it look like crap. I'm sorry. When they do their algorithm to load that photo, it squishes it and makes it look terrible. So make sure you're loading them at the size that they want and then you'll get better look. You'll get a better look out of them. So last thing, sorry. Any other questions? Grab a card if you want up here. Hopefully if you didn't sign in, please come and put your name on the notebook and then thanks a lot. Appreciate it.